I forced my boyfriend into an open relationship, and it was the worst mistake of my life. I'm an idiot for what I did to my boyfriend. He didn't deserve it. This is a long, painful confession, but I was advised to share it to get others' perspectives. My name is Daniela, and this is my story. I met Fernando, my boyfriend, though I'm unsure if I can still call him that, at university, where we study different majors. We've been together for over 7 years. Our relationship started with unforgettable moments and tender gestures. We complemented each other perfectly, despite our differences. Fer was an athletic guy, passionate about video games and manga, an architect, and a kickboxing enthusiast. I craved attention and had a bossy, narcissistic streak. But I truly loved Fer. After graduation, I moved into his apartment. He covered the rent while I job hunted. I landed a simple job that helped financially. In my first month, I got along well with colleagues, including Dom, an attractive guy from another country. I don't recall him having bad intentions. Fer and I shared memes and videos daily to brighten each other's day. In my 5th month at work, my laptop keyboard broke, and I'd ordered replacement parts by mail. I was swamped with work, sometimes bringing it home, but couldn't do much with a broken laptop. I texted Fer to pick up my package. The first attempt failed. We both missed the delivery, and it was sent back to the depot. I called Fer, but he didn't answer. The depot confirmed the package was still there. Furious, I took a taxi to retrieve it. I'd asked him for one thing, and he didn't do it. When Fer got home, he greeted me warmly, but I snapped at him about the package. He apologized, citing a work meeting. I countered that my job mattered too. We argued intensely. I stormed off to sleep in another room. The next day, I vented to my coworkers, who said couple fights were normal and suggested we talk. I followed their advice. At home, Fer apologized for not understanding my needs. I said it was fine, but urged him not to neglect me. He ordered my favorite Chinese food, and we watched a movie together, a great night. Days later, Fer texted, "Babe, did you pay the electricity and internet?" I forgot to reply, busy with work. That evening, he seemed worried, asking again. I said I'd do it later. He noted the deadline was that day. I replied, "I hope you paid it." He confirmed he had, adding, "Be more careful. We almost lost internet." I snapped, "What's the issue if you paid it?" He urged caution to avoid future slip-ups. Annoyed, I said not everything revolved around him. I don't recall exactly what we said, but I escalated it, and we argued again. I told him I didn't want to see him. Our relationship became a roller coaster, constant bickering over small things, often started by me, though some weeks were nearly perfect. On my coworkers' advice, I scoured online forums for relationship tips and stumbled across the idea of an open relationship. I didn't initially consider it. One weekend, Fer suggested a vacation together. He wanted a cabin, but I convinced him for a resort for more privacy, booking it 5 months out. The next weekend, we attended a family gathering at my parents' house. Fer agreed to join, though he's always had tension with my cousin Ben. Fer drove us 3 hours to my parents'. I was excited to see my family. Things went fine until Ben arrived, sitting with us at dinner. Fer grew tense as Ben made jabs and indirect insults about him. It worsened when Ben's friend Frank joined and flirted with me. That's just Frank's way, but Fer was visibly uncomfortable. After a series of insults and a joke about Fer's architecture career that made me laugh, Fer snapped, kicking Ben in the face, knocking him down. Everyone was stunned. Fer apologized and left. I chased after him, but instead of calming him, argued about his behavior, embarrassed in front of my family. He said he was going home. I didn't respond, angry. The next day, I tried contacting Fair to discuss it, but he didn't answer. I spent the day with Ben and friends. Expecting Fair to pick me up, he didn't. I had to ask my dad for a ride home. When I arrived, Fair was playing video games, acting like nothing happened. Furious, I unplugged his console and berated him for the party. He refused to apologize, showing concern for my mood. I considered ending things, though deep down, I wanted to marry him. After more online advice, I told Fair our relationship was deteriorating and gave him two options: break up or open the relationship. He initially rejected the idea, but after a deep talk, showing him online posts, and citing our frequent fights, he considered it. I argued our jobs and other commitments had distanced us, and this could keep us happy. After reflection, Fair agreed to try it. We set rules: notify each other with a photo of who we're with, use protection with new partners, no deception if both consent, bring only the official partner to family events, and no limit on partners. These were my rules. Fair's only rule was no lovers at family events. We signed the agreement. I said I hoped we'd work on our relationship. He just said, "Okay," and went to bed. I thought focusing on myself would strengthen us. I started flirting with Dom, staying late at work to chat with him. After 3 weeks, I sent Fair a photo of Dom. He replied with an eggplant emoji. After a date with Dom, I came home to Fair playing games with a friend. He greeted and hugged me, but I said I'd be back later, changing into a red dress I hadn't worn in ages. Dom picked me up, and we hooked up at his place. He was passionate, a great lover. We slept together a couple of times, and he kindly drove me home. Fair was asleep, looking sweet. He stirred when I arrived, asking if I was okay. I said yes. He offered dinner. I declined, and we slept. I wrapped my arm around him. He kissed my hand. The next morning, he'd made breakfast. We talked about my day, not my night with Dom, and parted calmly. For weeks, I went out with Dom, sending Fair photos. Our fights lessened, and my work productivity soared. But I remembered Rule 6. I couldn't just see Dom. So, I texted Frank, Ben's friend, for a Friday night meetup. He agreed. I wore the red dress again, dolled up to impress both Fair and Frank. Frank picked me up. I clarified I wanted nothing serious, just a night out. He was fine with that. I sent Fair a photo. He saw it but didn't reply. The night with Frank was casual, kissing, nothing more. With Fair, things felt normal. Fights stopped. He seemed calm. We hung out when free, though I always initiated outings to movies or local bands. It felt like our early dating days, and I thought I was thriving. I saw different guys every couple of weeks, casual, nothing serious. I often met Elias, an arrogant but good lover. But something odd struck me. Fair never sent photos of his dates. One day, I noticed him getting texts while we talked. Assuming it was a date, I said nothing. The next night, he dressed up in a striking black denim jacket and left. I complimented him. He smiled, saying he was going out for sort of fun. I waited for a photo, but none came. At 11 p.m., he returned. Excited, I asked how it went. He said, "Fine," brushing off details, saying I wouldn't be interested, and went to bed. The next weekend, he left again, saying he'd be back later, no details. He started coming home late, unlike before. At first, I was glad, thinking he was enjoying himself, and I did the same. 3 months into the open relationship, I felt happier. Then came my parents' anniversary, a yearly event we always attended. I wore a new dress and asked Fair if he was ready. Surprised, he asked, "For what?" I reminded him of the anniversary. He smiled, saying, "Have fun." I asked if he wasn't coming. He said he had plans. It hurt, but I assumed he had a date and didn't want to ruin it. I took a taxi and bus to my parents. They were surprised I came alone. I lied, saying Fair at work. The next day, no message from Fair, just WhatsApp stories showing him at a gym, but I couldn't see with whom. I texted, asking if he was okay. He said yes, but was too busy to pick me up. I got home around 8 p.m. to find him asleep. The next morning, I asked about his weekend. He said it was nice, looking excited, but dodged details, hugging me before leaving for work. Jealousy crept in. Who were these girls? Were they like me? Where did he meet them? How many dates? What did they have that I didn't? These questions haunted me, eroding my self-esteem and confidence in our relationship. I felt trapped in a whirlwind of doubt, anxiety, and sadness. I wanted to trust Fair, but battled my insecurities. The jealousy grew, consuming my days. I stopped going out with my dates, longing for Fair. When he was home, he seemed so happy, vibrant, and attractive, but he was often out late or left early. One week, I craved time with him, but he was barely around. I felt lonely, crying often, missing him. It killed me not knowing who was making him so happy. I tried venting to Elias, but he only wanted sex, uninterested in my feelings. Then came our planned resort vacation, a chance to end the open relationship and my jealousy. I took a week off work, packed for both of us, and woke Fair on Saturday, asking if he was ready. He said, "For what?" I reminded him of the resort. He smiled, saying, "Have fun." I insisted we go together. He said he had plans, suggesting I take a friend so I wouldn't be alone. He hugged me, kissed my forehead, and left. Stunned, I called Elias, who agreed to join me. The first day at the resort was great. The place was nice, and I hoped things would improve. I was wrong. Elias ignored me, flirting with another woman in front of me. Despite fun pools and jacuzzis, I felt alone. Meanwhile, first social media showed him camping in the woods, looking happy and handsome. Then he posted a photo hugging a woman in jeans, black sneakers, and a black jacket, well endowed, embracing my boyfriend. Was she his open relationship partner? Did he love her? I compared myself to her, taller but less busty. Her style mismatched. I couldn't compare our intimacy. I screenshot his photos, obsessing. The next days, Fair posted more, now on a mountain, hugging her again. Jealousy and sadness consumed me. I wanted to confront him but couldn't, bound by our rules. Back in my hotel room, Elias returned with 2 women, suggesting group sex. Disgusted, I rejected it, canceled the resort stay, and went home. Seeing Fair so happy on social media fueled my jealousy. At home, he was surprised I returned early. I lied about why, asking about his plans. He shared excitedly, his trip sounding more fun than mine. I blocked Elias after his stunt. Fair and I talked for hours. He seemed content while I faked calm. He mentioned we were out of groceries, so we shopped together in his car, which looked different. New seats, decorated dashboard. At the store, he usually grabbed my favorite cookies without prompting, but this time he didn't. I added them myself. While I answered a work text, I saw Fair with a woman, pretty, in heels, attractive. Jealousy surged. I wanted to confront her. Fair introduced her as his cousin Carmen, calling me a friend. Relieved, I barely registered his words. We ate out, but he was on his phone most of the time, saying little. Back home, I realized we hadn't been intimate in a while. Hoping to ease my jealousy, I bathed, perfumed myself, and wore lingerie. At 9 p.m., Fair entered. I asked if he wanted to spend the night together, expecting passion. Instead, he played Call of Duty online with friends. Feeling rejected, I recalled Fair's college obsession with Chun-Li from Street Fighter, even watching explicit content of her. Inspired, I spent the week hunting for a Chun-Li cosplay costume while working extra hours to cover an early Friday leave. My boss approved. I set up the bedroom with dim lighting, wore the costume, and waited for Fair. When he arrived, I surprised him, knowing he wasn't into cosplay but hoping to impress him. I seductively suggested he remove my outfit to see the surprise. His response crushed me. "No, thanks." My world collapsed. The indifference in his tone and lack of interest hit like a punch. Tears streamed uncontrollably, a deep, wrenching sob. Fur's concerned look showed he noticed my pain, but nothing felt the same. I collapsed into his arms, sobbing, begging to know who his date was. "Who is she? What does she have that I don't? Do you love her?" He stayed silent, offering calm presence. His lack of answers cut deeper. "We had an agreement," I cried. "If you love her more, there's no point living together." His response shocked me. "I'm not dating anyone." Confused, I pointed to his happier demeanor, late nights and photos with women. He explained my open relationship push hurt him, that I decided for both of us, but he agreed to make me happy with Dom. Seeing me with Frank, Ben's friend who insulted him, hurt most. His late nights were from resuming kickboxing and reconnecting with anime and gaming friends. During my parents' weekend, he competed in a kickboxing tournament, placing second. He'd sidelined his hobbies for me since we started dating because I meant more. He admitted my resort decision hurt deeply. He no longer saw me as his girlfriend, just a good friend. He hadn't paid rent or utilities once, not wanting to pressure me as I started my job. Fur's words stripped away my blinders. I sobbed, realizing I had been selfish, a jerk to him. I apologized for blaming him over the package, for not defending him against Ben, and for forcing him to see me with others. We talked for hours. I begged for a second chance. He said he still cared but no longer loved me. I pleaded to try again. Initially reluctant, he offered hope. We both needed individual therapy to rekindle his spark. I'm now in therapy, where I've recognized our mutual mistakes. My therapist suggested sharing my story with strangers to practice listening and accepting feedback. I still live with Fair, unable to afford a bigger place. I'm trying to reconnect as friends, though I still see him as my boyfriend. I know I shouldn't have hurt him. I love him and don't want to lose him. Guys, girls, what advice do you have? I'm desperate for help and truly regret my actions. I didn't realize I'd been so awful.